All right, lads and lasses, guess what? It is time for some Zero AD replays, beginning now with the Alpha 22. That's right, we are getting some Alpha 22 replays, latest version, top quality, top tier, top keck. Okay, that last part was maybe a little bit too extreme, but this is a survival of the fittest game, and I'll just show you. It's a regicide type, and we've got BB left or B left, I don't know. Map KOC and D Shark S4, and these are some newcomers to this series. We certainly haven't seen them before. Look at that. That's I'm already liking the way the houses look before they're built. That's definitely an interesting design choice. And we're going to see how they handle the waves. And spoiler alert, this game is a 50-minute game length. So we are definitely going to see a lot of stuff happening. So I think I will cut it in half, and I'll go maybe 30 minutes the first time, then the rest the other time. So we'll see the first 30 minutes today, and next episode we'll see the rest of it. So of course we are already seeing an interesting plan to move the I guess you could call it the king, since it is regicide. So king is an appropriate term. To move the king to a more remote location, a safer location. That definitely is an option here. And the first wave, less than 2 minutes away for the players. We'll see how that turns out. So here we see some barracks here. Look at that. Some let's just take a quick look. So we've got the Seleucids for BB left or B left, depending on how you'd like to pronounce that. And Map KOC has the Spartans. Always a strong choice. And of course that depends on whether or not you get the good buildings up. And of course we have the Carthaginians. And of course a temple being built is very important, as the temple is indeed a vital building. However, I don't know if building the market at the edge is the best choice. Of course, if you want to get the best bonuses, I guess that makes sense, but the attack is coming straight in. Look at that. Battering rams right up at the start. Look at that challenge that they have to deal with. Fighting is still going on here. Some houses have been destroyed. It looks like the Shark S4 is not having a good time. He's definitely unprepared. That chariots coming in for the attack. And another barracks might go down. I think we know who came out the bottom at this stage. And knowing the types of units that came out, I am certain that everyone will now adjust and perhaps build some defensive buildings. That certainly would be a wise choice, and we do see a defense tower. However, it doesn't really have very many upgrades on it. Who has units nowadays? D-Shark S4 really suffering down at 10 units. Map KOC 50. That is definitely an advantage. The elephant is going to tear down the defense towers. And we are seeing at 2 times speed, so it is moving relatively quickly. And here it comes, another elephant attacking from the south. Green player is really having a tough time. Uh-oh. Defeat is indeed an event. And coming out with 10 units at the end of the first round, it's not a surprise that Gaia would push through. So the question is, who's... Oh, wait, no. For a moment I thought that was the next attack, but it wasn't. Good thing it wasn't, because that would have been a disaster. But nevertheless, the question becomes, who is going to come out of this on top? So we do see a temple, and it is in a good location, I'd say. Although I'd say some of these units may need a little bit of healing. And we have a Royal Stoa. Ooh, Thracian Black Cloak. I haven't heard of those. Maybe that really shows my lack of knowledge. I guess it's just a matter of time until the next attack comes in, and we'll see whether or not that rolls over. And another new feature about this version is, of course, this ring that tells you the range of effects that certain units have. And here we see Map KOC is doing very well, now taking down those siege engines, and has a defensive artillery posting. Meanwhile, it looks like BB Left has focused on the artillery and was then dealing with the infantry. I see 2 different strategies here. But the question is, will this no defensive building type layout be effective? I think that's the question that we're all asking. Or maybe it's just me, but I do believe that it is indeed a question worth asking. Otherwise I wouldn't be asking it, of course. And of course, building this defense tower so far out makes it the prime target for enemy attacks. However, the advantage in that is that it allows the player to control the enemy attack by giving the enemy a prime target. Now, of course, building one on the other side could also lead to the enemy splitting up forces to attack, which may be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your strategy. For example, if you use a lot of missile units, then of course that isn't a problem. However, if you like to swarm close range units, then that can be a problem. Oh my goodness. Helepolis, of course, historically very powerful, however, not very successful. And it looks like Map KOC has already taken care of the invaders, and that could indicate to me who is the likely winner. BB Left, of course, not having defeated the enemy as quickly. But of course, by the looks of it, without too many losses either. So I guess that's 2 different ways to look at it. But let's take a look at unit count. 46 and 73. Well, I know who my money's on. That's for sure. But the question is, will they be able to keep up? But I would say that this certainly is a worthy army. Look at that. Not even giving them the chance to unpack. Meanwhile, they are all fully unpacked. Of course, I don't think that this costs too many units. Not too many units. Too many resources if it's just slightly damaged. It's not a problem, but of course, taking them down right out of the gate is probably a good tactic to use, a good strategy. I think we're seeing what could be the winning strategy. To just swarm them right out, don't give them the chance to counterattack. That could be the strategy we've all been looking for. The strategy that is going to declare the winner. Now, of course, BB Left has now reached the city phase. Very good. Of course, can't build any heroes since you already have a hero.
Yes,
look at that overlapping healing. That's a lot of healing, if you ask me. Now, of course, you may not be asking, and that's okay. I don't mind if you don't ask. But if you did ask, there was your answer. No fortresses built by anyone. They probably don't have the resources to do it anyway. So, however, it would probably be a good idea to perhaps do that. That could be a long-term investment worthwhile. Oh, what is this being built? A fortress, exactly as I would have expected. However, this defense tower is going down. There is no question about that. But there are troops attacking out. The question could be, was focusing on building the fortress a bad idea in light of these siege, I guess you could call them, the elephants coming in to attack. Meanwhile, it seems that Map KOC has definitely won out here. In taking them down right out of the gate. However, building this fortress may give BB Left the long-term advantage that BB Left needs to overcome the unit number disparity. That could be a real possibility here. And of course, rebuilding those defense towers is always a good idea as well. I don't see any trade going on. I don't think either of the players are really engaged in any form of trade at the moment. Oh, there is some bartering, though. Of course, there are still plenty of resources out here. Of course, it doesn't look as though much is going on with those resources, but it still is worth noting. And anyway, Wave is now attacking. Let's see how BB Left forces deal with such an attack. The fortress is holding strong and is attracting elephants, but this elephant has broken off to attack the temple, which definitely is a building you don't want to lose. But of course, getting the attack to focus on the fortress is an advantage since the fortress has so much health. However, it does seem that Map KOC is still ahead in taking down the enemy real quick, which may mean that advantages could pile up as the game continues. Also, I believe that these units here are captured units, which definitely would give an advantage eventually as the game moves along. I was wondering, what is this white thing on the map? It's a food treasure. Of course. And here we see another defense tower getting built up. BB Left not wasting time building these defense towers, even though they are going down pretty fast. And of course, repairing the siege engines is always a good idea as well. Of course, they are heavily damaged, so those repairs need to get done quickly. And in fact, I would suggest that they perhaps should be done quickly. But of course the attack comes again. Those battering rams pushing in. Let's see. A military mess hall finally being built. This house is probably gone. The attacks did push past the front line, so that is an issue. A serious issue. Some units were lost in defending. BB Left does need to recover, and that KOC, however, is building that military mess hall and perhaps getting some hands on some of these Spartan hoplites. Strong units, good counter against cavalry, and good damage as well. And an elephant being trained and ready for action. This could be what BB Left needs. Now, of course, BB Left is repairing the fortress, which is a necessary, definitely a necessary action to take, because this fortress is the front line. And if you lose this fortress, you lose the advantage that you have. Because if we look again, the unit count, Map KOC does have an advantage in unit number, but BB Left does have those defensive buildings. So we're going to see how that turns out. Now, of course, these buildings did not get built. Let's see Map KOC. Map KOC is definitely going for it. Map KOC now has not enough units to build that fortress. Not units. What am I talking about? Resources. Resources. Come on, lads. Teach me how to set my brain in order. Holy cannoli. Maybe I'm going senile. I don't know. That would definitely be a horrifying prospect, going senile. If that's happening to you, I really feel for you. Ooh. Oh, that's an interesting path to take here. A second fortress. Well, that fortress needs to get built fast. If I were BB Left, I would focus on building that second fortress before the attack came, because you don't want to end up with a fortress getting destroyed instead of built in the first place, which is probably what's going to happen right now. There it goes. It's gone. And here come the elephants once more. They are taking a lot of damage and are going down relatively quickly. The question now becomes, who is going to win? Anyway, I think it is a great place to pause right here after this latest attack. We're about 32 minutes in, more than halfway through the game, but of course we're going to have the after-game analysis in the end on the next video. So I would like to thank you all for watching. If you would like me to look at a specific replay, then please do tell me. Or if you have any suggestions at all, please do tell me in the comments below. I would be glad to oblige. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will be seeing you all next time on Awiltos over and out.